Welcome back. I've had a couple of requests for sort of a general tour of my home and maybe a closer look at some of my games. So that's what I'm going to do today. So let's check it out. Alright, here we are in the front door. And we have this sort of little entrance hallway here. And some of you guys who watch my shelving video probably noticed the bookcases that were in there are now out here, and they're sort of acting as a general food stuff and some of my tools and whatnot storage. And we have, of course, the row of shoes. Always interesting. And Joyce. Would you like to say hello? No? Okay. Here we are in the kitchen area. So we've got our dining table. Always nice to have a Buddha on hand. And let's see. Got the mixer, juicer, knives, sink. I'm sure you guys have seen that before. Stove. And our refrigerator, which has a really awful picture of my wife and I when we first started dating. And a much better picture of us below that. And of course, our lovely cat. Alright. And we have coffee stuff and the grandfather clock, which my family was nice enough to give me. And here in the bedroom, we have the bed, obviously. It's where we do a lot of sleeping. And we have various bookcases, more books, and more books, and more books. So, in case you guys didn't know, I actually like to read quite a bit. And we also have family photographs. Always important to have some family photos around. At least I think so. And nothing fancy here, just our dresser, closet, more family photos. And surprise, surprise, more books. We have a serious book problem at this house. Also, I have some of my 16mm films here. So I may do a video on that at some point, because I know some of you guys might be interested in it. I've got some interesting cartoons, like this Silly Symphony here, and this one is a Foghorn Leghorn cartoon. I've also got some feature films, interesting Orson Welles thing, and also these 4 reels right here are Network, the classic movie. So, alright. And I hate this thing, just in case you guys needed to know. Sort of a little pantry area thing, and the reason we bought it is because it was really cheap. I think we paid like $10 or $15 at Home Depot. It's one of those things where it's, you know, sort of unfinished wood, and you put it together yourself, and I don't know if you can see, but the legs are actually bowed and everything, so it didn't work out too well, and I had to bolt it to the wall. And I also had to stain it because it kind of looked like it was put together with popsicle sticks or something. So, and we have Joyce again, who's probably hungry. And then in here, of course, we have the bathroom. Nothing terribly fancy here. Got our reading material, always helpful. And yes, I use a real razor. Just in case anyone was curious about that. And of course here we have the living room, which I'm sure a lot of you have seen in my previous videos. And we've got all the shelving and whatnot that I put up. And at this point I'm going to talk a little bit about my game collection. So for those of you who are not coming to this channel for the gaming related things, if you're my family or something watching this, then I apologize that you have to suffer through all of this, but here goes. Actually, first of all, I've got the kind of interesting little thing I've had for a while. This is a Marilyn Manson autographed guitar. It's pretty cool. And of course we have the arcade machine with the Dreamcast and Saturn, and then we've got the Sega STV at the bottom, and then actually I don't know if I've mentioned this on any of my videos, but I also have Death Smiles, the Great Cave Shooter. Very cool to have. Let's see, try to back away here. So you have the Odyssey 2, NES, the Fairchild, Astrocade, the Sega SG-1002, and of course we've got Skyward Sword here and Radiant Silvergun. Great games. Down below we have lots and lots of records. We've got reel-to-reel tapes here, which are very cool. Fast Striker for the MVS. I also have a 111 in 1 cart. I know some people have sort of negative feelings about these, but honestly I think it works pretty well. Then also Strikers 1945 Plus, it's also an MVS cart. Of course, you have to have the Star Wars trilogy on Laserdisc before George Lucas decided to go and mess with everything. Hellraiser, Nightmare Before Christmas, also pretty cool Laserdiscs there. Alright, and we've got 5,200 games, and then we've got, these are my, whoops, I don't know where the camera is. These are my Mark III Master System carts, and these are sort of SG-1000, more Mark III carts. All my white ones are up on the second shelf. And then up on the top here, I don't know if you can see this at all, but I've got some various Commodore 64 and Atari 2600 carts. And then starting on the bottom here, we have PlayStation 1 games, and I realize my PS1 collection is incredibly small, so you guys will have to forgive me for that. And then we have Dreamcast games. Kind of go slowly so some of you guys can take a look, see what I have here. And then on our next row up, we've got some GameCube games over on the left here. And then the Nintendo Wii games. And then we have some Xbox 360 games. And probably my favorite system, the Sega Saturn. Lots of great import Japanese games here, mostly shooters. And then up here we have a couple of Commodore 64 disc games, and then a couple more independent Dreamcast releases, and then a couple of the long box PlayStation games. Of course we have Knights with the 3D controller, and that's the Japanese import. And then we have my one lone PAL Sega Saturn game here. And then all of my North American Sega Saturn games. Some really great ones in there. Guardian Heroes, Panzer Dragoon Saga. Got lots of racing games, which I have 2 wheels for. I'll show you in just a minute. And then we got Sega CD games. Got some good stuff on that too. Popful Mail, Lunar, Lords of Thunder, Sonic CD. Lots of really good stuff. Eternal Champions, I think is a really underrated fighter, but just my opinion. Next row up we have our NES carts, and I've got all those boxed, as I'm sure you can see here. Guerrilla War, it's one of my favorites. Super Mario 3, of course, is always a good one. DuckTales. Let's see. I'm trying to read these through the camera, so I apologize if I can't see any of this. Gradius, of course. And one of these is yeah, the Tengen Tetris, which I think is much better than the Nintendo one, so Maybe it's a little controversial, but I think it's better. Maybe I'll do a video on that too. And then we have some Nintendo 64 games here, and also a lone boxed Super Nintendo game. And then we have our Sega Genesis games. And again, the Genesis is the only system that I have now that I actually had when I was a kid. So most of these games that you see here are ones that I've had, since the 90s, since I was playing the Genesis back then. Lots of great stuff. Musha, love that game. Alright, and the top row, if my arm lasts out here, we've got our Master System games. Our North American Master System, rather. And most people are surprised to find out that, I don't know if that is going to come through at all, but Mortal Kombat was actually released on the Master System. And honestly, it plays... well, I don't even know that I would say that it plays. It's awful. But it does look really good, surprisingly. Cloudmaster, another great game. Let's see. And then I've got some of my... These are actually my original boxed Nintendo games that I had from back in the day. I sold my original NES at a yard sale along with most of my games. But for some reason I had a bunch of box games that survived, and I found them in my parents' basement in like a random box. So that was pretty cool, finding some of those. And then, let's see, over here we've got Defender and Centipede for the VIC-20. And this case here, let's see if I can take this down for the camera here. This case here's got just a bunch of, it's kind of a mess at the moment, a bunch of Game Boy Advance, PSP stuff, and I usually keep my PSP in here, and also my Game Boy Advance, but recently, or actually I have the Game Boy Micro, but since I spend most of my life on a train these days, I actually have my Game Boy Micro in my bag pretty much all the time. So, and here we have Super Nintendo carts. Most of these are the newer ones that I showed you guys in that pickups video. We've got some more Super Nintendo carts. Next here we've got, of course, the turntable that I did the review of, also my Laserdisc player. And these are all laser discs down here, which is pretty awesome. And then we've got our Atari, it's the Star Path Supercharger. And so these are all cassette tape games, which is pretty interesting. And then Cosmic Raiders is actually for the Astrocade. This is a prototype cartridge, which is pretty cool. And got some loose TurboGrafx 16 games. And then I've got a couple of interesting things. This is actually not Tiny Toon Adventures. It's a Super Mario Brothers hack, and it plays not so well. Vector Man 2, great game. Got some N64 carts, which of course are not N-labeled, which angers me, but that's okay. A couple of ColecoVision games here. This one's a homebrew, Cosmo Fighter 3, which is pretty cool. Then we've got our Astrocade games, and then we'll go to the bottom here first. Of course, we've got all of the Japanese CD-ROM and HuCard games for the PC Engine, and we've got our North American TurboGrafx 16 games. Those are all HuCards. And then we've got our Atari games here. Most of these are 7800 games. I see some of these on the left here are 5200. All these on the right are 7800. We've got more 5200. Pango, great game. And then we've got our 2600 games. I love Stargate. It's fantastic. More 2600 games. This is actually ColecoVision Pac-Man. It's Pac-Man and Ms. Pac-Man, which is, and it's an incredible port. If you guys haven't checked that out, you should definitely do that. Then we got our Odyssey 2 games up on the top here. And what was this here? Oh yeah, my Neo Geo Pocket Color box. And that one I keep in my bag pretty much all the time as well, because I love that system. And we've got our PS1, PC Engine Duo, and our TurboGrafx 16 CRT television with Pac-Man. And then we've got the Wii, the Xbox 360, and our Mac Mini over here. Let's see. Got our receiver. Sorry, I'm trying to position myself here. And the Kinect, which still has been used, I think, once because it sucks, or at least the games for it do. This is a clone NES, which, you know, whatever, it works. It works a lot better than the original NES. So ColecoVision, VCR, and then that's the DVD recorder, which is what I use to capture all my game footage. Then we got our North American, Japanese Saturns, and we have Nintendo 64, Super Nintendo, and our Genesis with Sega CD and 32X attachment. I don't know why everything's kind of going off to the side there, but let's see. And down below we have our Master System, Dreamcast 7800, 5200, and we've got our region modded GameCube here, and we've got our Mark III here with the FM sound unit, and of course the old reel-to-reel machine, Atari Video Music, ginormous subwoofer. It's always a must. Back here we actually have Ultra Pong for the Atari, so I just kind of let it hang out back there. Then some of you who saw the video where I put this guy up, this shelving unit here, would be interested to know I actually put a second one up on the other side, which is kind of cool. Helped out a lot, I think. We've got some DS and Game Boy Advance boxes, my wife's DS, and let's see. This is my Neo Geo Pocket box. It's just a cardboard box, but it's see, I've got all my games and stuff in there, or at least the ones that I'm not playing on a regular basis. Like I said, I carry that with me pretty much all the time. Then we have our SG-1000 carts and our Mark III Master System carts. And then the next two shelves are Fairchild. And you can see I've got a lot of the earlier games. I'm missing number 7, and let's see, and number 14. And then of course I'm missing some of the later ones, but I do have a couple of the ones that are really hard to find of the later ones, Galactic Space Wars. And Pro Football you can find sometimes, but these later ones a lot of times are just in a plain white box, so it's kind of hard to find them with the actual printed label there. And then the growing 32X collection. So some of you guys can see I've been working on that a little bit. So I've got a decent start on that for the year. And then got some more VIC-20, Commodore 64 games up on the top here, and some more Sega SG-1000 stuff. And we've got on the top here, we've got the yellowed Mark III, which I haven't had time to mess with yet, as well as the Sega SC-3000. It's got the music overlay on it right now. Pretty cool 8-bit computer, if you guys don't know about that. And let's see. Sorry, I didn't just realize I maybe made some people dizzy here. Miles Davis, one of my heroes. And of course we got the ColecoVision Atari cart thing here, whatever you want to call it. Microphone, projection screen. That's a heater, in case you guys were wondering. We keep our Wii stuff in here, and then I also, I'll probably do a video on this, but I also keep a lot of controllers and stuff under the table here. So, and then I don't know if you guys, it's probably too dark. You see our neighborhood a little bit. Beautiful Washington Heights. And of course we like to keep a fair amount of stuffed animals nearby, you know, just in case you need one, in case you're hungry. And my wife also has a thing for pigs, so which is why she married one, I suppose. And I wanted to show you guys one other thing that I think is pretty cool. When they redesigned this apartment, they put these sort of gigantic holes above all the closets. And this one in particular is kind of a mess, but you can see I've got my minister in there, and also got the twin stick for the Saturn, and also some driving wheels and whatnot. A few extra things up there, but anyway, pretty cool to have some extra, a little bit of extra space there. All right. And last but not least, let's check out the office. All right. Some guitar and bass action there. Another bookcase. These are all my wife's books here. Not all of them. Some of them are in the bedroom as well, but that's her bookcase. And some of her stuff here. And this is our cat's doppelganger, made by our good friend Katie, who is pretty amazing with the arts and crafts type of things. She also made this picture here, which is of my parents' cat. It's pretty awesome. This is my wife's desk and her awesome iMac. I'm a little jealous. And you can see we have had windows in here, but I sealed them off, and we put up sound panels and everything so that we could do recording and those kind of things in here. And and I also put some liner under the door and everything. So it's not completely soundproof, maybe about 90%, but good enough for me. And it's nice, even when we're not trying to record stuff in here, just to have a quiet room where you can kind of hang out. This is my desk. It is what it is. It's got computers, and this is where I sit and do lots of boring work. Or it's not boring to me, but you guys probably find it boring. So if you need your music decentered, you can read this book. And got some Shostakovich scores I've been looking at. Love me some Shostakovich. And then of course we got the mixer and our studio monitor speakers. I've also got a subwoofer down here. And the Genix Octopus, which is essentially, it's sort of like a hardware sequencer. But it's got a lot of really advanced features, and it's a lot of fun to work with. The Luminous Garden, I'll probably do a video on this at some point, but this is also a very cool synthesizer. You can also see I've got my Atari 2600, my Heavy Sixer, back here with the synth cart, because I do like to use that for synthesis purposes. And we've got just some various synths and whatnot. The Moog Slim Fatty. Gotta love the Moog. Actually, the Moog factory's in my hometown. And then we've got the Commodore 64 that I showed you guys the mod on. And then this is the Korg Radius. This is just the sound module for it. And honestly, this is a really, really great value. So any of you guys that are thinking about getting into sort of pseudo-modular synthesis, it's got a lot of the capabilities of a modular synthesizer, but it's really easy to use. It's really easy to set up the different sound sets and whatnot. So highly recommend it. Great value too. And then I've got this beast up here. This is just a home-built modular synthesizer. I didn't build it. I didn't build it, but I bought it directly from the guy that built it, and that's pretty cool. It's got a 10-step sequencer on it, which is awesome. I like having the sort of odd number of steps there. So you get kind of like a bar of 5. Also, we've got this other interesting little, it's like a circuit bent Roland MT32, which for those of you who don't know, a lot of like the early PC games made use of this, because you'd actually just hook up an MT32 to your PC, and that would provide the sound. So that was kind of like an industry standard at the time. But this one's been circuit bent, and so you can actually use patch cables to kind of do all kinds of fun stuff to the sound. And then we have my Korg Triton. I've had this for probably 10 years or so. It's weighted keys. It's got a built-in sequencer and everything, so it's still running strong. Love that. And of course, got the VIC-20, which I have programmed some music into this with this this homemade RAM extension, but kind of a pain in the ass, because the more the more stuff you get going on this, it kind of slows the tempo down because it just really bogs down the processor. So anyway, that's pretty much the whole place. I hope you guys enjoyed the tour, and I guess let me know if you have any questions about anything or whatever, and I guess I will see you in the next video.